Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. We are live right now on Rumble as well as on YouTube at Matt Morris TV. Happy Friday, everyone. And today really is a happy Friday to say the least. Ladies and gentlemen, today we just got some pretty massive arrests. I kid you not, but Don Lemon, disgraced former CNN talking head, and his merry band of church group raiders have now been arrested. They are all facing federal charges. And so, boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. But also, on top of that, Tim Walz and the Democrats, the Demon Rats, have just gotten some pretty catastrophic news. They are becoming increasingly violent and agitated and tyrannical. I'll show you what that means here in a minute, because the walls really are quickly closing in around them, and they are in fact today on one of the top. Listen, this is a story that I woke up this morning, I couldn't believe it. I had to rub my eyes. Folks, one of the top far left anti-ICE websites actually just got hacked by right-wing hackers. The hackers are on our side. This left-wing anti-ICE has gotten hacked, ultimately exposing all of their information, all the user data, emails, addresses, everything. And so we are going to take a look at that. Pretty much anyone that was using this anti-ICE website is absolutely screwed. And also Trump himself has just cranked up the heat on this entire situation in Minnesota. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have, like I said, a lot to talk about today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a lot. I think we should just go ahead and kick off today's show by taking a look at this situation regarding Don Lemon. We're going to kick things off by taking a look at a statement from Attorney General Pam Bondi issued this morning, just a couple hours ago, in fact. She said, and I quote, "At my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamail Liddell Lundy." It's hard to believe these are real names, but they are. "In connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota." This is almost 2 weeks ago now that this church group raid took place. "More details soon," she says. Now, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon came out. She reposted this. She said, "More to come. Watch this space, more to come." The arrests are not over. The arrests are just getting going. We have a statement from FBI Director Kash Patel this morning. He says, early this morning, FBI and the HSI partners arrested 4 individuals in connection with the January 18th coordinated targeting of City's Church in Minnesota. Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamail Liddell Lundy. We have a lot of footage to go through today, folks. We have a lot to talk about. This is great news. Who thought that on a Friday such as this, we would have news like this? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we have here next. Take a look at this. Just announced, Don Lemon has officially been federally charged with 18 U.S.C. 241 conspiracy to deprive rights, as well as 18 U.S.C. 248 violation of the FACE Act. Terrorizing Christians was a severe mistake, Don Lemon. Fafo, first you effed around, now we found out. Now he found out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have also, earlier today, gotten a hold of the appeals paperwork confirming that the first judge's refusal to sign off on a warrant for Don Lemon was totally unjustified. Remember, about a week and a half ago, the DOJ tried to petition a judge in Minnesota State to sign off on an arrest warrant, on an indictment for this guy, for Don Lemon, and the judge said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, we got the paperwork. We have all the paperwork pertaining to that dynamic today. It all got released. The DOJ actually did, in fact, have probable cause of criminal wrongdoing. So the initial failure to arrest was not actually the DOJ's fault. It was the fault of this far left, radically progressive judge that was politicizing the judiciary. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, of course. So we now know the DOJ had proof. DOJ had evidence. DOJ put that proof and evidence in front of the judge. The judge said, I'm not going to do anything. Sorry. Classic far left politicization of the judiciary here. Now, so what happened here is this: because a far left activist judge refused to do their job, the DOJ put evidence of Don Lemon's crimes and criminal wrongdoings in front of a Minnesotan state grand jury comprised of everyday random citizens from Minnesota, Minnesotans, and they determined that there was, in fact, enough evidence for a criminal indictment. So this is not the DOJ. Listen, the DOJ is not taking matters into their own hands. The DOJ is not being tyrannical here. The DOJ put together the evidence of Don Lemon and as well as his other individuals, their criminal wrongdoing, tried to put it in front of a Minnesota state judge. The judge was actually acting sort of tyrannically, said, I'm not going to pursue this. Sorry, no warrant, no indictment for you. The DOJ said, okay, well, we're going to put together a grand jury in Minnesota state comprised of everyday Minnesotans. That grand jury, everyday Minnesotans, took a look at the evidence the DOJ put in front of them and said, yeah, this guy made a big mistake. This guy has, in fact, committed a crime. So just to be clear, it was the people of Minnesota that indicted Don Lemon, not Donald Trump's evil DOJ, as the far left is trying to say right now. It wasn't even a judge. It was a grand jury. The people of Minnesota indicted Don Lemon. And I'll tell you what, let's talk big picture here. If a grand jury signed off on an indictment for Don Lemon, you can bet your sweet behind that they will also sign off on numerous other indictments for the other 30 or so, 30 to 40 left-wing rioters that were by his side when they stepped into that church. We've already seen 3 other arrests in addition to Don Lemon today. What are their names? Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamail Liddell Lundy. I want to see a couple dozen more. Don't you? 4, these are probably the big shots. They're the ones maybe putting this thing together. But listen, there were like 30 other members of this far left raid on this church. I want to see some indictments for them too. And they were all on video. We have the proof. We have the footage. I think it's only a matter of time. Now we have a Fox News report breaking down this entire dynamic. Don Lemon, this lemon has gotten squeezed.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him.
You know what's insane? We have a judge, we have another judge, we have an appeals court, which has numerous judges on it. All of these judges are Minnesota state judges. So Minnesota state judge 1 says, no, I'm not going to do it. Minnesota state judge 2 says, no, not going to do it. Put it in front of a Minnesota state appellate court, which has numerous Minnesota state judges. All of them said, no, not going to do it. It was only after we put together a grand jury of actual Minnesotan people, the people, everyday Americans like you and me, got a hold of the evidence and said, yeah, this guy committed a crime. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, our legal system is broken. We had at least 2, I would speculate probably 5 judges. A lot of appellate courts have 3 judges presiding on them. So somewhere around 5 judges here said, no criminal indictment, no arrest warrant, nothing, we're not going to do this. Listen, you want to talk about far left politicization of the judicial system, this is what that is. It took the American people, everyday Minnesotans on this grand jury to bring about justice here. Thank God for them. Thank God for them.
So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including.
Look at that. That is the big leader. She's the civil rights activist. She's a Black Lives Matter leader. This was a member. She was on the Public Education Council. She was involved in the Minneapolis area public school system. This woman here, this church raider, and this is just a mentally ill far left agitator. We've seen this guy all over the place.
Including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll of course update our viewers, guys.
Listen, folks, it is so important that we get justice here, and it seems like we are going to get justice here. These people are arrested, federal charges, bring them forth, and I'll tell you why. Of course, at a base level, we want to have justice in the country, but also remember, during the Biden era, we had numerous times we had Christian prayer groups having prayer sessions outside of Planned Parenthood abortion clinics, and the Joe Biden DOJ said, "Hey, how dare you have prayer sessions outside of abortion clinics? Arrest them." The charges, the FACE Act. The FACE Act is what they brought in. So this is what's happening. The same charges, FACE Act, violation of the FACE Act. It is so important that we have justice here, and it seems like that's what we're getting. Now, Pam Bondi issues a video statement here.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
And so she did. And so they did. Pam Bondi delivers against all odds. I think a lot of people had given up on Pam Bondi. A lot of people had written her off. Pam Bondi today, you need to give credit where it's due. Pam Bondi delivered. She saw this situation through. She was shot down once by a judge. She was shot down again by another judge. She was shot down by an appellate court, a Minnesota State appellate court. She said, screw it. We're putting together a grand jury. And she saw it through. She did. She did. Good for her. You got to give props where they're due. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to talk about the type of evidence here that Pam Bondi and the DOJ might have put in front of this grand jury, because remember, they had to put together a case. They got all the proof and the evidence of the crimes, the transgressions of Don Lemon and his cohort. So they've had all the evidence. They put it in front of the grand jury. What type of evidence might this grand jury have been presented? Goodness gracious. Well, take a look at this. This is a little bit disturbing. I'm going to read through some of this. One of the victims of the St. Paul Church says agitators prevented them from getting to their children. One thought it was a shooting, and others weren't able to leave. One woman fell and was injured. This is pulled from a federal affidavit dated 10 days ago. Victim number 4 informed agents that members of their parish attempted to retrieve their children from the child care area located downstairs, but the agitators were blocking the stairs and the parents were unable to get to their children. Evil, disturbing, evil. Victim number 4 informed agents the aisles were already narrow to begin with, and the agitators who occupied the center of the sanctuary made it near impossible for parishioners to get out and leave. Victim 5 later expressed fear that the agitators may have guns underneath their jackets. Additionally, when the agitators began shouting, all the parishioner could hear was shoot. Terrible. Victim 4 recalled one agitator was threatening, aggressive, and intimidating towards parishioners. Additionally, this agitator was screaming and getting in people's faces, to include women and young children. This agitator continued to scream in the faces of young children while they were crying. Evil. Affidavit writes, agitators, quote, forced parishioners to flee the church out of a side door, which resulted in one female victim following and suffering an injury. Absolutely evil. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a flashback here. This is later on in the day, the very day that Don Lemon and his cohort of church group rioters invaded this church. Don Lemon later that very same day went on to a left-wing podcast and had this to say. Listen up.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Don, you're a gay black man in America. So first off, the first thing he does after literally conducting a targeted church raid, he says himself in this video that this church was targeted because they are white and they are Christian. It's a white supremacist church. They are white and they are Christian. And that is why we chose this church, because they are white and they are Christian. That's a big time problem. That's a big time problem. He admitted to it here. And then he said, well, the reason why I'm catching some flack here, the reason why I'm in trouble is really just because I'm a black gay man in America. That's the only reason why people are mad at me. Nicki Minaj earlier today issued a statement about this. I'm sure everybody's been sitting here. I wonder what Nicki Minaj has to say about this. Well, we got the answer. By the way, this is Stephen Miller's wife on the far left. She's got a podcast.
You called for Don Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis. He's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth. Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon?
Cocksucker, stop.
So there is our official statement from Nicki Minaj. By the way, Nicki Minaj, you saw her the other day hanging out with Trump. I guess now she's good with Trump. She's an honorary part of the Trump administration at this point. She's all over the place. We can't go a day without seeing her at this point. Cocksucker, stop. And a lot of people are saying that Don Lemon really only put together this church raid so that he could go to prison. Rumor has it Don Lemon actually wanted to go to prison. I wonder why. Gross. Moving on, this is Don Lemon a couple years ago on CNN 2019. What was Don Lemon saying on CNN in 2019?
Nobody is above the law. Nobody's above the law.
This clip did not age well.
Nobody is above the law. Nobody's above the law.
Nobody is above the law, including you, Mr. Lemon. Including you. Democrats in 2024 versus Democrats in 2026. In 2024, they were saying nobody's above the law. Now they're saying Don Lemon is above the law. The goalpost has officially been shifted. This is Don Lemon just a couple days ago speaking to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Timu Obama. What were they saying? Just 2 days ago. This was recorded 2 days ago.
Not the only one, but they've gone after you in a baseless fashion, no justification whatsoever. And I'm thankful for the magistrate judge in Minneapolis who refused to authorize them moving forward. That rarely happens, but it's a sign of the lack of basis or evidence whatsoever for targeting you.
That's funny because a Minnesota state grand jury has seen that very evidence and they decided to issue a criminal indictment. And now he has been arrested. Now he's facing federal charges alongside his entire cohort. Hakeem Jeffries says, and this is testament of the proof of lack of evidence. There was no evidence. It's just Trump's DOJ going crazy, trying to silence everybody that disagrees with them. Well, really, it is actually testament to the degree to which we have, our judicial system has been corrupted by far left activist judges that refuse to dispense justice to people that are on their own radically progressive side of the aisle. That is what this is proof of, if anything. Now, we've heard that not only Don Lemon has been arrested today, but 4 individuals in total have been arrested. We actually have footage from inside of the homes of one of Don Lemon's collaborators that got arrested this morning. And I want you to take a look at this. Hold up. Federal agents showed up to another leftist's house who stormed the church alongside Don Lemon. Fake journalist Georgia Fort. Take a look at this. Liberal meltdown inbound.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. There's the feds.
Okay.
Look at him.
Okay. Well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community. And to me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac.
What's the matter? If anything, they're probably just peaceful protesters. These federal agents serving a warrant to arrest you, standing outside your house, their entire caravan of cars. When you think about it, they're really probably just peaceful protesters, though.
2, 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant. Slide the warrant. Let me see the warrant.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And that, to me, what I have been told, is not a judicial warrant that has me to have to open the door for you.
So you can't help but notice the hypocrisy when it is her raiding other people's private property, this church 2 weeks ago, when it is her raiding private property, uninvited, causing a ruckus, making little kids cry. It's all good. It's okay. Hey, that's what protesting's all about. We got to make people uncomfortable here. That's the name of the game. But then when it's federal law enforcement officers serving a warrant to her in her house, then it's, hey, come on, hey, it's a little bit aggressive. Come on, can we tone things down here a little bit? The hypocrisy, it's just next level. It's astounding. Governor Gavin Newsom chimed in this morning. He's trying to put his left-wing propaganda spin on this. He says they raided a reporter's home earlier this month. Today, they're arresting journalists. They are coming for you. Speak out. Well, first off, they're not coming for anybody unless that person commits a crime. I looked into this. Which reporter is he talking about? They raided a reporter's home earlier this month. Well, I looked into this. The reporter that Gavin Newsom is talking about here is a woman named Hannah Nathanson, who worked for the Washington Post. She had her home raided earlier this month because guess what? Why? She was leaking classified documents that she got from a Pentagon contractor. She had a friend inside of the Pentagon who was leaking to her classified Pentagon documents, and she was then leaking these documents all over the internet. She worked for the Washington Post. So her house was raided for a very specific, particular reason. She committed a very serious crime. This woman, Hannah Nathanson. And now they're arresting journalists. Yeah, because these journalists were actually far-left rioters and agitators invading a church group uninvited, interrupting, violating the FACE Act. So that is why this is not some Trump authoritarian crackdown on members of the press. When members of the press commit crimes, then they will be held accountable just like the rest of us. Members of the press, you don't get to say, hey, I'm a member of the press, so I can do whatever I want. No, that's not how this works. But now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have another pretty massive story today that I want to talk about. Before we get to it, everyone, make sure to like today's broadcast. It really helps a lot. Make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. It really does help a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not kidding when I say this. I wish I was. But now the Democrats are openly talking about opening up re-education camps in order to propagandize all of us conservative Americans into becoming more progressive or something. This is literally what they're planning on doing should they ever regain control of this country. And we have the video proof. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But also, unfortunately for the Democrats, one of their top far-left anti-ICE websites has just been hacked by a group of right-wing hackers, ultimately exposing everything. All of the secrets of these far-left anti-ICE groups has now been exposed and turned over to law enforcement so that these people can be held accountable. So, folks, we have a lot to talk about here today. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Like I said, the Democrats want to open up re-education, really indoctrination, propaganda centers for all of us right-wing Americans. And this information is brought to us courtesy of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Take a listen.
We have generational trauma at attempt to destroy our state like nothing in our state's history. And once it's over, what they found out in South Africa and other places is you might bring back the guy who did the shooting, you might put him on trial. But I think everybody recognizes the reason we got to this point was an ideology that's far bigger, that we have to understand this. I mean, after World War II in Germany, we had America House to reteach Germans about democracy, to teach them about rule of law. Maybe we need America House here, once again, to tell us about what is at stake.
So there you hear it. And by the way, we have heard this very same sentiment from Hillary Clinton. I think many of you will remember that. This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Hillary Clinton said the same thing about half a decade ago. She said, we need to de-MAGA. We need to de-MAGA the country. Of all these MAGA Americans, all these deplorables, they're too MAGA. We need to get them back on track. We need to make them more progressive, or whatever the hell they plan on doing now. By the way, a little bit of a history lesson. Following the conclusion of World War II in 1945, the USA spent right around 10 years and billions of dollars re-educating the Germans following World War II in order to teach them that fascism is bad and that democracy is good. We, the United States, we spent billions of dollars on about a decade sort of re-educating them. Genuinely, we did. So this is what Tim Walz and the Democrats want. They want to shove all of us, Trump supporters, into re-education camps, trying to mind control all of us, propagandize all of us, indoctrinate all of us into believing that MAGA is bad or conservatism is bad and that progressivism is good. That is what they want, genuinely. We've heard this numerous times from various senior-ranking Democrats time and time again. Folks, when a senior-ranking Democrat says something like this, we need to listen to them and believe them. This is their plan. This is what they want to do. This is what they plan on doing the very next time that they regain control of this country. This is what they want to do. And like I said, the Democrats right now are becoming increasingly hostile, increasingly violent and agitated. We heard the other day from the second highest senior ranking Democrat in the country, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. He said this. Take a listen. He said this yesterday.
It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently. She's got to go.
He's talking about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. This is the second highest ranking Democrat in the country right now, right behind Chuck Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries talking about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Secretary of the DHS, Kristi Noem, he says, we need to put her on ice. What does that mean? That's a death threat. That is a death threat. That's what that is. We've seen numerous riots in New York City, by the way, from his congressional district, by the way, rioters in New York City chanting that they are going to hang Kristi Noem. Those are his constituents. And then he gets up here, second highest Democrat in the country, says, we're going to put her on ice. That is a death threat. These people are getting violent. Scott Jennings, he says, Waltz is now publicly fantasizing about civil war and also talking about re-education camps for right-wingers. Yeah, he's insane. Krasner says he wants to hunt down federal law enforcement officers like Nazis. Larry Krasner, who he's talking about, is the Democrat District Attorney of Philadelphia. That's who he's talking about, Krasner. And then Hakeem Jeffries here, you just saw it, says that we need to put Kristi Noem on ice. That is what we're seeing. Elon Musk responded to this. Elon Musk, he said, if it is war Tim Waltz wants, it is a war he will get. I think Elon Musk, I think he understands what is at stake here. What is at stake here? The fate of this republic. These people cannot be allowed to ever regain power or control in this country ever again. The second they do, they will destroy this republic as it stands. We know it is a fact. And this is why Elon Musk, he's coming back out of the woodwork. He kind of went quiet for a couple months. Now he's back. Elon Musk decided, listen, I'm going to get directly involved in midterms. Elon Musk is going to be spending $150 million or $200 million purportedly to help Republicans retain control of the House and the Senate. Elon Musk understands. Elon Musk knows we cannot let these freaks ever regain control of the House or the Senate. Midterms are important. So Elon Musk is back. He's involved again. He understands if this country goes under, we all go under. And it will go under if the Democrats ever regain control. Let me give you an example of what happens when Democrats are in control of a city or a state. I mean, I think we all know, but take a look at this. This is going to blow your mind. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson makes clear that her city doesn't need signal chats like we've seen in Minneapolis. Instead, she's just going to mobilize the actual police to do what the Minneapolis signal networks had been doing. She will even have the Seattle Police Department relay intel gathered on federal agents directly to community partners and ban usage of city property by federal agents. Katie Wilson, mayor of Seattle, is a former professional protester. She's manipulating and abusing her office as mayor of one of the most powerful cities in the country to aid and abet domestic terrorists today and to resist the federal government. So we've all seen the signal chat stuff in Minneapolis. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson says, we don't need a signal chat. We're going to do it out in the open. We're just going to do it in the open. We're not even going to try to hide it. In fact, I'm going to weaponize the police department to harvest intelligence against federal law enforcement officers, handing that intelligence over to far-left rioters and agitators. This is insane. Here's Katie Wilson posting her step-by-step plan on social media. She's not even trying to hide it. She's not even trying to hide it. Absolutely astounding. Now, like I said, we actually do have some very bad news for the Democrats today. We've got some bad news for the Democrats, some catastrophic news. The Democrats have, for months now, been using a website across the country called stopice.net. Well, this morning, stopice.net was hacked by a group of right-wing hackers. If you visited the website this morning, the message was this: we were not kidding. We sent your names, logins, passwords, and location to a bunch of government agencies. Sherman Austin is a terrible coder. He's the coder behind the website. He created the website. They said, Sherman Austin is a terrible coder. And so is the other guy that ran the website. Right-wing hackers infiltrated stopice.net today. Now, I looked into what this information exactly is, and I want to tell you, this data includes IP addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, vehicle information, and user locations with exact geo coordinates. all of the information of all of these far left insurrectionists, all of it has now been apprehended by this group of far right hackers and, according to them, turned over to the appropriate government agencies. This is what their website looked like earlier today. We were not kidding. What's more, late last night, President Trump issued a direct warning to the far left leadership of Minneapolis. You know how a lot of people have been saying? A lot of people have been saying that Trump has gone soft. Trump is pulling out of Minneapolis. Trump got bullied or pushed out of Minneapolis by Tim Walz and Jacob Fry. Bull crap. Bull crap. That is not what happened. That is not what happened. Take a listen to what Trump had to say last night about this entire dynamic. Listen up.
Back immigration enforcement agents out of Minnesota.
We want to keep our country safe. We'll do whatever we can to keep our country safe.
So you're not pulling back?
No, not at all.
So you're not pulling back? He said, we're going to do whatever it takes to keep our country safe. Insofar as Minneapolis goes, the reporter says, so just to be clear, you are not pulling back? He says, no, not even at all. No, not even at all. So there you have it. We also see that accountability is already underway on the streets of Minneapolis. As it would turn out, it was Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry that have completely capitulated to President Trump by lifting their stand-down order on police all across the state of Minnesota. We have seen that in action. You want to see what that looks like? You want to see what it looks like now that the stand-down order has been lifted on Minnesota State Police and Minneapolis local city police? This is what happens. Take a look. This is footage from this morning. These are local sheriffs that are now arresting left-wing agitators on the streets. Finally, we are seeing arrests. Trump, to be clear, the Trump administration was able to sufficiently put pressure on Walz and Fry. They capitulated, they lifted their stand-down order, and now we've really been seeing this for 3 days, but I had to show you guys this one. This is hot off the press. Now these people are getting arrested. The local police now, their hands have been untied. They are able to do their job. And they are. We've seen dozens of arrests get made. Dozens over the last couple. There's another one. Look at this guy. You told us to stay off the road. Sorry, lady. Sorry, sir. Sorry. Hey, it's ma'am. Hey, it's ma'am. Whatever the hell you are. Sorry, buddy. So we've seen dozens of arrests now, and not arrests being made by ICE and DHS and CBP. We've seen a lot of those too, but now for the first time, the big difference here is the police, the local police, they are the ones making the arrests. Also, you want to talk about accountability? Breaking news. We have a date. We have a date now. Tim Walz and Attorney General Ellison are set to testify in front of Congress on March 4th. So a little bit over a month from now, Governor Walz and Minnesota State Attorney General Ellison, they have been compelled. This is mandatory. They have been compelled to do this. This is not a request. This is a demand. They have both received subpoenas from the House Oversight Committee. Representative, he's the head of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer. He says, quote, America deserves answers about the rampant misuse of taxpayer dollars in Minnesota's social service programs that occurred under Governor Walz's and Attorney General Ellison's watch, under their leadership, if you can call it that. So I think a lot of people, there's so much going on right now. It's easy to kind of forget exactly what's happening. The fraud case is still underway. As a reminder, the DOJ is investigating all of these guys, Fry, Ellison, Walz, and Lord knows who else. There is a DOJ conspiracy case being built against these guys. The DOJ on their own, they have filed subpoenas against these guys. They got a hold of emails and text messages and bank logs, all of this stuff to build out a case here. Conspiracy, the charge here, the idea is that they were conspiring to undermine federal law enforcement operations. Seems like they were. Now, the House Oversight Committee is also looking into the rampant fraud and corruption and abuse in this state under their leadership, if you can call it that. So these guys are getting nailed up to the wall, so to speak, in numerous different ways. They are screwed, to say the least. They are, which is why, people like Walz and various others, they are becoming increasingly agitated and violent. It's just the case. They know they've been pushed into a corner. Their back is in a corner. They know their days as free men are coming to a close here. And you know what? We do need to see this type of accountability if we actually want to make America great again and put America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in the show, folks, what I would like to do is take a look at some super chats. Thank you all very much for being here today. If you're new, do me a favor, make sure to subscribe, drop a follow. It really does help a lot. Hey, like the video if you haven't already. I want to see what you, lovely ladies and gentlemen in the audience, have been saying about this entire fiasco. Don Lemon's been arrested alongside numerous others. Criminal accountability is now flooding into Minnesota State. Thank God. We need to see that. Here are the super chats. I always forget where they are. Okay, I found the super chats. I got them. I want to see what you folks have to say. No, hey, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Now, I do have a little bit of a special surprise for you folks before we get into super chats. You guys, normally we go MAGA mode. We go super patriot MAGA mode when we are doing our super chats. Today, no, today it's not enough. On a day like this, when we are seeing arrests get made, super patriot MAGA mode is not enough. Today, we need to go super patriot ascended MAGA mode, and I'll show you what that looks like, ladies and gentlemen. We got the new hat. I'm a man of many hats. I'm a man of many hats, and today we have the gold on white ascended super patriot MAGA hat, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are with the gold tie to match. Imagine that. Looking good, looking spiffy. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and take a look at these super chats. Thank you all for being here. Our first super chat of the day is from Funny Guy. Hey, thank you, Funny Guy. Thank you for tuning in. He says, Matt, you will appreciate this. Asmongold is the modern day. You know what's so weird is I've read this word. In fact, I've read what he had to write, but I've never taken the time to learn how to pronounce the name Diogenes. I think it's pronounced Diogenes. It's funny because I've read a lot of what this guy's written, but I've never actually said the word Diogenes, I'm assuming. Same logic makes you Themistocles. Keep fighting the good fight. Well, hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I nailed it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You think so? Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. We have John Carew. Hey, thank you for the super chat, John. Thank you. We have Zion War. He says, lemons are officially getting squeezed. These lemons are getting squeezed. Thank you. We have a super chat here from Jump Jack. He says, this is the problem with the BS blue slip crap in the Senate. The Republicans have over 200 judges on hold because of that BS, not the Dems. Now the Dems are blocking warrants and the Dems keep using not convicted. And this is right. This is a perfect example of the blue slip problem where Republicans, Trump, can't appoint his judges or his U.S. attorneys because all it takes is one Democrat senator in whatever state he's trying to appoint these judges or attorneys in, and he can't do it. Grassley has got to toss this rule out, but he's not. He's not doing it. He should, but I don't know. He's not doing it. I wish he would. We have a super chat here from Highly Regarded Acoustics. He says, second favorite lemon party. Yeah, man, that's a throwback to like 2005. Gross. Hey, gross. That was one of the jokes when I was a kid growing up. Lemon party. John Mitchell Jr., he says, I'm going to send Don some lemon soap so it'll be harder to pick up if he drops it. Yeah, like we said, I have a feeling he's probably going to like where he's going. Don't you think? Ugh, terrible. We have a super chat from Torta Pounder. Really? Listen, sir, you are better than that. His name is Torta Pounder. Listen, my brother. Listen, brother, you are better than that. You can do better. He says, Matt, you need to start deporting people in the chat. Is that right? Hold up. Wait a minute. Do I need to deport some people in this chat? Is that right? Scanning for delinquent illegal aliens. Do we have any people in this chat that need to get deported? Maybe so. I don't know. I'll keep an eye. I'm going to have my best people taking a look at it. Thank you. Super chat from Colt of the Blue. He says, Tulsi, Christy Nome, and Pam Bondi, am I the only one that would buy a Ladies of Patriotism swimsuit calendar? I want credit for this idea, Mr. President. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. And you guys can call me prude, you can call me old school, you call me regressive. We don't need to sexualize everything. No, I actually don't want our Attorney General to be sexualized. Hey, here's my idea. I actually don't want our Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security to be sexualized. I actually don't need the women of the Trump administration in bikinis and a calendar. We actually don't need to do that. Everybody talks about freedom of sexuality. What about freedom from sexuality? Everywhere I go, I see something gross and perverted and nasty. It's just like sex, 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 everywhere sex. What about our freedom from sexuality? You can't take your kids anywhere. You can't go anywhere. You can't watch a movie. You can't even watch a damn commercial these days without sex, sex, sex. It's enough. I get it. Sex. Wow. Cool. Wow. How about we need to make our society a little bit more traditional and respectful? How about we bring traditionality back to our society, right? We don't need to have sex everywhere. It's a little bit much. We got to rewind the clock on this one. It's a little bit much. So I'm not calling you out. I don't want to call you out. I'm not singling you out, but this is just kind of how I feel. We got to rewind the clock on this one. We're going to rewind the clock back to the Bronze Age. We're going back to the Bronze Age on that one. That's where I am. Hey, thank you. Hey, I appreciate it, though. Thank you. We have a super chat here from Stefan Slayer 1. He says, re-education camps. Like I said before, the Democrats are the real Nazis and self-project always. They are definitely authoritarians. There's no doubt about that. The extent to which the Democrats care about the Constitution is the extent to which they can weaponize the Constitution against us. They don't actually deeply value these traditional American values. They don't care about the First Amendment. Do you think the Democrats give a damn about free speech? No. The extent to which they care about the First Amendment is the extent to which they can weaponize it against us. And the same goes for the rest of the Constitution or whatever law. You know, great example of this is federal immigration law. Do they care about laws? No. If they did, they would be cheering on ICE for finally enforcing federal immigration law. They're not. They're calling Trump a dictator for enforcing laws. That's what they're doing. They don't give a crap about any of this. It's all a big game. It's all about power. It's all about a power struggle with these people. Do not get that twisted. Diversified Company, he says, you still have yesterday's 4:30 Eastern posted one-man show. I know. I don't even know what that means. Oh, up there. Oh yeah, up there. That's right. Yeah, I forgot to get rid of that. Hey, good reminder. Yeah, here. There you go. Now it's gone. Hey, thank you. My bad. Hey, it's a one-man show. Accidents happen. That's the way it goes. My bad. Thank you very much for the reminder, though. Thank you very much. We have a super chat here from Laurel Hall. She says, thanks for doing what you do. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show and the community. Thank you very much. You know, this is my first time wearing this hat. Mrs. Hall, what do you think? Miss Hall, what do you think? I think this is one good looking hat. It's the best $49.99 I've ever spent. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, thank you for being a part of the show. Lori Wilkinson, thank you. She says, now we know the 2020 election was stolen. I feel the viciousness will exponentially increase before it's over. Here is my prediction for 2026. Listen, 2026, I think, is probably going to be one of the most eventful years in all of recent American history. I think we are going to see President Trump, the Trump administration, continue to drop criminal charges against senior ranking Democrats, members of the left. I think they will continue to get held accountable this year. We're already off to a good start. They will become increasingly aggressive and agitated. I think going into midterms, I think when people are going out to vote, like when it's time to vote on midterms, I think the Democrats are going to try to be pulling some crazy shenanigans. I expect far left shenanigans going into midterms, and I expect a lot of riots. I think that's what's going to happen. Thank you very much. It's going to be a crazy year. It's going to be one nutty year. Eaters of Dead with a super chat. Good to see you. He says, I don't care about these nobodies getting arrested. Where are Pam Bondi's arrests of the people organizing and funding the insurrection? Real names. You know, everybody says there's no arrests, there's no arrests, there's no arrests. And then when there's finally arrests, people say, well, I didn't mean those arrests. We have had we've had 650,000 violent illegal aliens deported in the last 12 months, another 2.1 million self-deported. That's a big deal. We've had a 20% decrease in violent crime across the U.S. in the year of 2025, the single biggest decrease in violent crime in all of recorded U.S. history. 2025 was the safest year in all of American history since 1990. I'm sorry, since 1900. 1900. That's 125 years. Now we are actually having far left agitators, big name podcasters, talk show hosts. One of the women here is a leader of the Black Lives Matter movement. To put this into perspective, one of the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement and Don Lemon, big time left-wing talk show host, has now been arrested. They're facing criminal charges. I kind of do think that is a big arrest. And also now, you guys know my take on 2026. I think more are coming. So I'm not going to sit here and like poo-poo and be pissed off and be mad. Well, nothing ever happens, and I'm just pissed off, and I'm just going to be mad. And I think Trump is a loser. And man, I would maybe, you know what? I even wish I voted for Kamala Harris because Trump is doing nothing. Sorry, I'm not there with you. Some of you guys, I'm not there with you guys. I'm not there with you guys. I think things are most certainly moving in the right direction. And here's what I look at. Not only are things moving in the right direction, but the rate at which we are moving in the right direction is increasing. We are picking up speed. We're going in the right direction faster and faster and faster every day. That's exponential growth in that direction. So you're right. Not everything has been accomplished yet. Not every single problem in the country is solved yet. It's taking time. It's only been 1 year. Give it some time. 2026. I've given the same spiel a million times now on this show. I'm telling you, 2026 is going to be a very big year. Take it from me. 2026, we are going to see a lot happen this year. We are. Okay. Now we have some Rumble rants I want to take a look at. We have a Rumble rant from Roland Mix. He says, they want to put us in re-education camps, yet if they got what they wanted, the average American's IQ would be lower than the average Somalian IQ. Yeah, by nature of flooding the country with immigrants from the third world. Yeah, it's probably the case. They want to put us, you know what it is? They want to put all of us in Leering centers. That's what they want to do. The Leering Center was the prototype. Now we know what they're going to do with all these Leering centers in Minneapolis. They want to put all of us in them and re-educate us in the Leering centers. It's all starting to make sense here. You got to connect the dots on this. No, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to make sure I haven't missed any super chats here. We have any super chats here? This is from Code Eagle 78. He says, it seems today that all you see is violence in the movies and sex on TV. What happened to our country? You know, what's funny? I was actually watching an episode of Family Guy with my wife last night. Normally we don't watch TV, but it popped up on the TV. I watched Family Guy last night with my wife. There you have it. So, hey, timely, topical, fitting, excellent. What an excellent super chat. Thank you. Thank you. It's true. It is true. It's true. We have a super chat here from Matt012. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And, you know, I think I'm on top of all the super chats today, folks. I think I got them all. Everyone, I think that's going to be a wrap for today's morning broadcast. Of course, you know, we are going to be back this evening at 5 p.m. Western, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Western, 8 Eastern, 5 Western, 8 Eastern. But the only way you're going to know when we come back this evening is if you follow, subscribe, and like the show. So before you forget, make sure to do that. It is Formal Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back. In fact, I'm going to have a video between now and then. I'm going to have a video also for you folks, so you've got something else to watch. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. We're going to be back this evening, everyone. God bless. Thank you very much. Stay safe. I appreciate the ongoing support and involvement with the show. The Morris Force is #1 to the top. Thank you all. We'll be back this evening, everyone. Stay safe. God bless, and I'll see you folks later. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.